to be Ryan the Great, and today we are talking more of the NBA trade deadline, guys. I know we want to get to some football stuff, but obviously if you guys want to go hear some football stuff, go listen to my Patrick Mahomes video. You guys are going to be pretty shocked about what I had to say there. Obviously, in yesterday's video, we had the Sixers talk. Obviously, we broke down all the Sixers trades. So, first thing, when we're talking about the trade deadline, we're going to start with that Terry Rozier trade because I never got a chance to talk about it. In hindsight, I probably should have made a video about it, but it is what it is. And we will not be talking about, obviously other trades that have happened before this, trades that we've already discussed. Those will not be broken down, so no Sixers trades. You guys understand the whole ordeal. If I'm messing up on some trades and I don't get all the exact details correct, I apologize. I'm just literally reading off ESPN's trade deadline tracker, and I'm just kind of breaking it down. So if I take a little bit to read the trades or if I get something wrong, I apologize in advance. Let's get right into the video. But before we get right into it, guys, make sure you guys subscribe with your post notifications on. Go subscribe to my brother Living Great Vlogs. Make sure you guys go subscribe to my second channel at Round the Cog Great. Make sure you guys go follow me on X at Round the Great RTG. Make sure you guys go follow me on TikTok at Round the Great RTG. Make sure you guys go listen to the latest edition of the Star 7 podcast. And make sure you guys go follow me on Twitch at Round the Great Podcast. And as always, I just want to do my outro. I've done this before. I know I've done this before. All right, let's get right into the video. Roll the intro. Won't be Ryan the Great, and today it'll be intercepted! The defensive line. What the hell are you doing? No effort whatsoever when it came to the defense. Bat, he is 0 for 2 today. Come on, Stotty. Stop! 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 Red slam! First pitch! Bring him in! Braxton! Stop! Woo! Bring that! Yes! Oh, damn. 1, 2, 3. What? Alright, let's get into the video. So, starting off February 7th, the day before the trade deadline. Actually, wait, we're going to talk about that in just a minute. Terry Rozier. I think Terry Rozier trade is pretty good for Miami. I think that Miami's starting to, do a little bit better. They're starting to win some more games. Obviously, they needed a more score in Terry Rozier. Bam and Butler averaging around 20 points per game. That that's not going to really get you over the hump. The depth is not really there like it used to be. Tyler Hero not really playing at the level I think we expected him to this season. Really haven't, seen much of him as of late, but it is what it is. So I think that was a good trade for them. They get some scoring, and they gave up Kyle Lowry, who, has an expiring contract. It's a pretty big contract, so not much going on there. Next, now we get into February 7th. So, the Memphis Grizzlies trading forward / center Xavier Tillman to the Boston Celtics for 2 second-round picks. One of those second-round picks is in 2027 via Atlanta and 2030, via Dallas. So, I think this trade is very, very good for the Boston Celtics. They really don't have that much center depth. Obviously, you have Luke Cornette to back up guys like Porzingis and Al Horford, but he's not really that really good of a backup center. I like Tillman because while he's not really that offensive scorer, he is not too good at finishing around the rim. He's a very good rebounder and a very good defender, something I feel that the Boston Celtics need when Al Horford is sitting on the bench. He doesn't need to score much because obviously you have Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Drew Holiday, Porzingis. You got a few guys there that can get the job done. So I feel like you really don't need Tillman to score the basketball. You just need him to play defense and rebound. Next, the Minnesota Timberwolves are trading Shake Milton and Troy Brown and a 2030 second-round pick to the Detroit Pistons for Monte Morris. The Pistons buying here, I do believe Morris got waived, if I'm not mistaken. But getting Shake Milton and Troy Brown, 2 good role players. Not really bad, nothing really exciting going on there, so we're just going to move on. Now we move on to February 8th, which was obviously yesterday. well, today, technically. I'm filming this video on February 8th. But the Charlotte Hornets are keeping Miles Bridges. He was in some talks earlier, but, he decided that he was not going to accept any trade from any other team. I do understand his reasoning. He's averaging 20 points per game right now, shooting around 40-something% from the field, which in the high 40s, which is pretty good. So, I can understand why he's going to go out probably this offseason, go get a contract for himself, and you really wouldn't want to hinder that by getting traded to another team. I understand his logic here. Now we're going to be moving on. The Wizards keeping Kyle Kuzma. They just need to blow it up. Jordan Poole's been playing so terrible as of late. I just think they need to blow it up there. Bada beep, bada boo. We've already talked about the Sixers acquiring Buddy Hield. Make sure you guys listen to yesterday's video. Here we go. The Toronto Raptors have acquired center Kelly Olynyk and guard Ochai Agbaji from the Utah Jazz in exchange for Otto Porter, Kira Lewis, and a 2024 first-round pick. Not really sure why the Toronto Raptors are buying at the current moment in time. They sold all of their, two of their three best pieces, that being OG Anunoby and Pascal Siakam. Not really sure why they're buying Kelly Olynyk. They obviously have Jakob Poeltl. I think that, Olynyk, while averaging 8 points per game this season, I definitely think he's a good piece for any team that he goes on. I think he fits a lot of rotations very well. Agbaji is definitely very young. He was actually one of my favorite players coming out of the, I think it was 2022, 2021 NBA draft. Obviously, was on that Kansas championship team. Yes, I think it was 2022. Either way, I'm not sure why the Raptors are buying. This seems pretty stupid to give up a first-round pick for a guy that you might need in the future. The Raptors are rebuilding right now. You would think they would want their draft picks. The Utah Jazz, though, stacking up on draft picks, and this draft pick could be very valuable. I'm not sure the Toronto Raptors are going to make it far if they are able to sneak into the play-in tournament. You can get a top 15 pick here, and this could be very useful. So I like this trade for the Utah Jazz. They're obviously rebuilding in their own right, so I like this trade. Next, the Oklahoma City Thunder are acquiring Gordon Hayward for guard Trey Mann and Davis Bertans. I do believe Bertans is being bought out. For the Hornets, I don't even know if they're keeping on the Trey Mann, but this doesn't really mean much. They're just trying to dump their pieces that are not obviously LaMelo Ball or Miles Bridges. Gordon Hayward, he can still score the basketball pretty good, efficiently. Averaging 14 points per game this season on 46% shooting. Has only played in 25 games, obviously has been injured, but I think, with the Oklahoma City Thunder, they don't really need him at this current moment in time, so he doesn't have to rush back. When he does get back, I think he'll be pretty productive. I think they're going to be wanting him to score the ball a lot because Josh Giddey has not really been much of a scorer this season, doing less than what the Thunder would have hoped for him to do. That is a shame for them. Sorry, I had to still coughing here. You guys know I was talking about it in my other video. But yeah, I don't think this trade is bad. I'm a little surprised they made it, but we'll see. You already talked about the Sixers and the house, stuff like that. The New York Knicks, just unbelievable what the New York Knicks have been able to do. They are acquiring Alec Burks, Bojan Bogdanovic, and are trading Quentin Grimes, Malachi Flynn, Evan Fournier, Ryan Arcidiacono, and 2 future second-round picks. The Knicks, I think the Knicks are a very, very big contender. I think they can compete with the Boston Celtics. First thing, you gave up Quentin Grimes. He's unhappy with the New York Knicks. He didn't want to be there. Malachi Flynn, you just got from Toronto in the OG Anunoby deal, I believe. I think you got him in the OG Anunoby deal. So he doesn't really mean much to your team. And then you have Evan Fournier, who's not been in the rotation in like 2 years. Ryan Arcidiacono, a bench player, but he'll always have a special place in my heart. And the second-round picks don't mean much at all. You want to know why? Because you have a million other first-round picks that you didn't even have to trade. I'm not sure what the Pistons are doing. They're buying role players, but then trading their superstars away for pennies on the dollar. The New York Knicks right now have one of the best starting lineups in the NBA, that being, they don't have a superstar, but they have a really complete starting lineup. You want to argue that Jalen Brunson is a superstar, I definitely can get around that because he is an MVP candidate this season, averaging 27 points per game. We hope he's healthy with his little ankle injury that he got on Tuesday night. But now you have Jalen Brunson, who's obviously your scorer and your MVP candidate right now. You have Alec Burks, who's your perimeter defender. OG Anunoby is out currently with an elbow injury. He'll be out for around 3 weeks, but when he comes back, he can defend anywhere on the floor. Then you have Bogdanovich, that's your scorer in 20-something games. I think it was 28 games played. He's averaging 20 points per game and 48% shooting. I think it's actually 52%, 48-52, around there. But either way, he's shooting the ball very efficiently. And then when Mitchell Robinson comes back, you have your interior defense there who can also score the ball as well. Isaiah Hartenstein's filling that the role of that interior defender. Then you have a bench that is deep as an ocean right now. They are looking so good, the New York Knicks. Even without your considered superstar, they look like, I would say, the 2004 Detroit Pistons. Like, that's how well this team is constructed right now. I down the OG Anunoby deal, but right now, the way the Knicks are going for it, like right now, and the way they were able to fleece the Detroit Pistons, that trade looks really good, and they've really proved me wrong. Charlotte Hornets getting a guard and draft compensation. I believe they got a few second-round picks, so I'm not entirely sure there, but it doesn't really mean much. This is an interesting deal right here. The Toronto Raptors are trading point guard Dennis Schroeder and Thaddeus Young to the Brooklyn Nets in exchange for point guard Spencer Dinwiddie. I find this trade to be pretty pointless. Obviously, Dinwiddie has been bought out by the Toronto Raptors. I don't really understand what the Nets are doing. Are they going for a playoff spot, or are they just trying to not trade all their assets away? In that case, why didn't you trade Mikal Bridges? It really doesn't make too much sense to me. I get that Dinwiddie hasn't had his best year, but I just don't really understand the move. Dennis Schroeder, not a bad point guard. He's more of a backup point guard. It just doesn't really make that much sense to me. It is really what it is. I also forgot to mention this deal. The Dallas Mavericks are exchanging center Rashad Holmes and draft compensation. Some probably second-round picks. I don't really recall. And they're getting Daniel Gafford, I think, for around $10 million, a good defensive presence, and 10 points per game. And now you're getting some center depth that you really haven't had over the past couple of seasons. It's a pretty good trade by the Dallas Mavericks. And I think really other than the New York Knicks, they really won the trade deadline. And I'm going to tell you why, because of this trade. The Charlotte Hornets are finalizing a trade to send P.J. Washington to the Dallas Mavericks for forward Grant Williams, guard Seth Curry, and a lightly protected 2027 first-round pick. I think the first-round pick is a little much, in my opinion. I don't think that Grant Williams is worth that much. Not Grant Williams, sorry. P.J. Washington's worth that much. Grant Williams, a good shooter. I guess with Washington there, it's really okay now. You also traded Seth Curry, who hasn't really been in the rotation much. I know he's in the buyout market now. But I'm not entirely sure why they traded a first-round pick. Maybe that's what the Hornets were only going to accept, and the Mavericks got a little desperate. I'm not necessarily sure. I don't think this is obvious. I don't think the trade deadline is going to be what leads the Dallas Mavericks to a championship right now. But if they can retain these guys that they just got onto, then I think that they'll be pretty set for the future. The Pistons, they tried trading Joe Harris, but he unfortunately now he has been cut. He's on. Sorry, I keep coughing. And he's been cut by the Detroit Pistons. He's averaged 2.4 points per game in 16 games played this season. Hasn't really done much for the Pistons. Obviously, they didn't really have much of a place for him in their rotation. He's on the buyout market now. I'm not sure who's going to really sign him. It's a shame because after all these injuries, he's a really good three-point shooter, just could never stay healthy. It is what it is. I think that he'll eventually get a team. I'm not sure in the buyout market. Maybe in the offseason someone will bring him on. But I don't really know. He wouldn't be getting too many minutes. He hasn't even shot the ball well, like, at all in the 3-point attempts that he's taken this year. We've already talked about Pat Bev. The Lakers, I do want to talk about them really, really quickly. They are a very, very, very interesting team because they didn't make any moves. They hopped out of the DeJounte Murray, who we'll be talking about in just a second, runnings. Sorry. And they didn't make a deal at all. And right now, the Lakers, which for every single season for them, it's championship or bust. Like, that's just kind of the Laker way. Like, it's either it's championship or bust. Doesn't matter if you lose in the first round or the NBA Finals or you don't make the playoffs at all. It's really all the same to the Lakers. So the fact that they didn't do anything to make their team better, LeBron James and Anthony Davis are definitely capable of winning a championship. But LeBron is 30-something years old, 38 years old, whatever, in his 21st season. Like, how much do you really want him to do? Like, he's not even healthy right now. He's dealing with an ankle injury. He's playing through that. And no matter how much the media brags about Anthony Davis being healthy this season, he's hurting in some way, shape, or form. Their role players have just not stepped up. These guys are injured as well. Jared Vanderbilt's out for a few weeks. Gabe Vincent's out for a few weeks. Like, this team right now, is not really built to win a championship. And even when those guys come back, your rotation's going to be screwed because even if you get into a groove with the rotation, you have to insert these guys back in. And, the rotation before, which I'm sure Darvin will go back to when those guys were healthy, is not going to work. So, really, I think the Lakers are screwed, and they needed to make a move here. I think some people would say that not making a move might be for the better. But now LeBron James is not going to be happy with this team. When I know I said on X that, we're going to have to deal with the media saying LeBron's whining. And I'm not really looking forward to hearing that. But at the end of the day, you need to keep your superstars happy. And that's what the Lakers normally do. They like to keep their superstars happy. They didn't do it here. Oh, my God, I just got rid of the trade deadline tracker. Oh, my goodness, let me pull that right back up. But anyway, continuing on with what I was saying, you need to be able to keep your superstars happy if you're the Los Angeles Lakers. They did not do that there. And this is going to be very, very interesting what LeBron James has to say. San Antonio Spurs are trading Doug McDermott to the Indiana Pacers for a future second-round pick. I'm not sure. Did McDermott get waived? I feel like I saw that. And they also traded Marcus Morris Sr. to the Spurs, who's expected to be waived or bought out. So, okay, that makes sense there. I feel like I saw something like that. For the Spurs, Doug McDermott hasn't really done much. He signed into a pretty nice contract a few seasons ago. I wanted the Sixers actually to bring him on. I kept begging the Sixers to go sign him because I really thought that he could have brought something to our team. But they just decided not to sign him. I thought they needed a three-point shooter, but it is what it is there. And now he's going back to Indiana where, his roots are. He was able to get a contract from the Spurs because he played so well shooting at Indiana. Indiana also, obviously traded Buddy Hield. So they're going to need to get some of that shooting back. I think that, this is a decent trade. Not really much going on there. The Atlanta Hawks keeping on to DeJounte Murray. I think this is a pretty stupid thing in my opinion because obviously you're not really in contention to get many people in the buyout market, and the people, the top players in the buyout market aren't really going to fill your needs. They're pretty much all guards that are the best players. And you need, I don't really know what you need. You need forwards and centers, I guess, because I think Capella is dealing with an injury right now. So you need those type of players, but there really is nobody in the buyout market. Free agency deadline's done, so you can't trade for anybody. There really weren't any good forwards, unless you want to count Miles Bridges and Kyle Kuzma, but they were, kept in by their respective teams. But they weren't going to trade for them. DeJounte Murray really doesn't have much of a place right now with the Atlanta Hawks. He's playing better as of late, but hasn't played too well this season. And the Atlanta Hawks aren't going anywhere. They're not going to win a championship. And they're not even looking like they're going to make the playoffs with Trae Young, who is definitely an all-star, but had to be thrown in because of Joel Embiid's and Julius Randle's injuries. It's a shame. It really is a shame for this team because, just a few seasons ago they were in the Eastern Conference Finals, and now all of a sudden they just look like they're in the dirt. The Milwaukee Bucks are trading Robin Lopez and cash to the Sacramento Kings. Lopez is being waived. I guess this deal is to bring on Pat Bev and maybe somebody in the buyout market. I'm not so sure. It doesn't really make too much sense why you would trade him away. It is what it is, though. Not really much going on there. We talked about the Jaden Springer trade. The Toronto Raptors keeping Bruce Brown. I'm not sure what the Raptors are doing. Like, they bought Kelly Olynyk. They traded a pick away, and then they're keeping on to Bruce Brown. I understand that maybe the market for him was a little low because he hasn't been playing well ever since being traded from the Indiana Pacers, but you might lose him for nothing this year because I don't know if he has a team or player option. Either way, it's pretty big, like $30 something million, somewhere around there. So I feel like you should have just traded him away. There were definitely teams out there that would have been interested in him. Because he's obviously one of the best role players in the NBA. It really doesn't make too much sense to me. I'm not sure what the Raptors are doing. I don't know if they're trying to make a playoff push or if they're trying to rebuild. It makes no sense. Not really much going on there, but a bee, but a boo. The Clippers unlikely to trade forward PJ Tucker, and he's not going to ask for a buyout, which is pretty stupid in my opinion. I know I said the word stupid so much in this video. I can't get through a sentence without saying it. But PJ Tucker has been, complaining ever since he got into the Clippers that he wants more minutes and wants to have a prominent role. Now all of a sudden he just doesn't want to leave. I guess he wants a free championship. I'm not so sure. It is what it is. And the Warriors are trading Corey Joseph to the Pacers for a second-round pick, who is getting cut by the Indiana Pacers. Not really much going on there. And our last trade, which is and then we'll talk about the buyout for just a second. The Phoenix Suns acquired Royce O'Neal from the Brooklyn Nets and David Roddy from the Memphis Grizzlies for a trio of second-round picks. As part of the deal, Brooklyn is receiving Keita Bates-Drop, Jordan Goodwin, while Yota Watanabe and Chinzy Metu will go to Memphis. I think that Brooklyn getting these picks is probably a good idea. Once again, Brooklyn selling their team away while not trading Mikal Bridges, which doesn't make any sense at all. But for the Suns, you get another shooter around Booker, Durant, and Bradley Beal, someone that can spread the floor, a power forward that can shoot. Someone that can come off the bench. Watanabe really hasn't been the shooter that I think the Suns were really hoping to see. He really wasn't integrated much into their system. I guess they just thought bringing on another shooter from Brooklyn would be the best idea. The move isn't bad. I don't think it's going to do much. Obviously, he's not the difference between them and a championship. What I will say, though, I think he was offered a few first-round picks, like when he was on Brooklyn or Dallas, like just a year ago, and whatever team it was, I don't remember off the top of my head, declined it, which was pretty stupid, but in hindsight, but it is what it is. The Suns get half-decent player while not really while trading picks that don't really mean much to them. Now a little bit about the buyout market. The Los Angeles Lakers are among frontrunners to sign guard Spencer Dinwiddie when he clears waivers. It makes sense. The Lakers definitely need to bring on somebody. Dinwiddie not having the best year of his career, but the Lakers are pretty desperate right now. As I mentioned, you need to bring on somebody to make LeBron James happy. Obviously, you don't. All right, sorry guys, my camera cut out. The Los Angeles Lakers getting Spencer Dinwiddie. You need somebody. Front runners to sign Spencer Dinwiddie. You need someone to keep LeBron James happy. D'Angelo Russell not playing too well this year. He's been playing better as of late, but he hasn't really been that primary ball handler that you would want him to be. So, Spencer Dinwiddie, I think, can bring on that role. Obviously averaging, 12, 13 points per game this year, something I think the Lakers need. You need some point guard depth. No, there's no Gabe Vincent there for the next couple of weeks. So I think bringing him on and trying to bring on some depth and someone that can, help you make a run would definitely be good for them. I've talked about Kyle Lowry with the Philadelphia 76ers. So on and so forth. So we will have to see where he ends up. And the buyout market, I'll probably be reacting to that once, that starts to pick up some steam. But that'll do it for this video, guys. Make sure you guys subscribe with your post notifications on. Go subscribe to my brother in the Great Vlogs. Make sure you guys go subscribe to my second channel at Run the Cog Great. Make sure you guys go follow me on X at Run the Great RTG. Make sure you guys go follow me on TikTok at Run the Great RTG. Make sure you guys go listen to the latest edition of the Star 7 podcast. And make sure you guys go follow me on Twitch at Run the Great Podcast. And as always, Ryan the Great out. Peace.